You know what? Well, no, I'm gonna take these out. I don't need them. But hello, hello. How are you all? Pray that you're doing well. Hello. Wanted to share something that the Lord put on my heart this morning. And I'm trying something new. I'm trying to do it on multiple platforms at the same time. So let's see how this goes. Pray, because y'all already know about the internet sometimes. But I pray that you're doing well where you're at. I want you to be encouraged. And I want you to know that the Lord sees you, He cares about you, and He also cares about what He has deposited in you and the promises He's already made. And He highlighted that for me in a story this morning that I've written songs about and I've spoken about. And He kind of showed me a new side of it, or another side, I'll say, of it. And that's the story of Hagar and Ishmael and Sarah and Abraham. And y'all know that the Bible, sorry, is full of drama, and it has trauma, and it has hope, and it has success. It has the ushy gushies, it has the romance, it has the war, and just all kinds of stuff. It has supernatural and the practical. So it's full of all the above. And so I wanted to share with you something that the Lord put on my heart to encourage you. And that is, I was sitting here and I was reading and I was thinking about Hagar and how she found herself in the desert. And if you haven't seen the video that Kathy Lee Gifford and I recorded several years back called The God Who Sees, make sure when this is over, you get a chance to see that. So that'll give you a little bit of a visual, okay? And of kind of where I'm coming from, but I do want to come at it from another angle to the Hagar story. Hagar, she was a slave from Egypt who worked for Sarah and Abraham. And she was kind of, I'm not going to lie, she was kind of a slave with an attitude. Okay. She kind of had a little bit of an attitude. And so she found herself in some predicaments. Now, some of these situations were caused by her and some were not. And so she's now in the desert. And I won't get into all the details because y'all know I love the details, okay? Because to me, a lot of the details are the juicy aspects, of these stories. But I do want to hit a couple of points. That Hagar, she found herself out in the desert. She had gotten into, she had had a couple of altercations with her mistress, Sarah. Let me just back up a little bit. Just, do you mind? You mind if I just back up a little bit? Like, I just, feel like I need to explain some things. Let me see if I can, if this is allowing me to see who I'm talking to, because I want to be able to see you guys. One second. Otherwise, I just feel like I'm talking to myself. And y'all know I don't like that. I like talking to you. So, well, let's see if it's going to let me. I think I need Karen here. But okay, anyway, I'm going to move on. So, and I'm going to trust that you're talking to me, and I'm going to go back and look and try and do my best and answer you, okay? But so here you have this story. God has made a promise to Abraham about what he was going to do. He was going to give Abraham a son in his old age, him and his wife, Sarah. Sarah's old, Abraham's old. And they've been trying to, see how this promise is going to work out because God's saying, hey, I'm going to bless you. Your descendants are going to be as numerous as the stars in the sky. And Abraham's like, okay. So him and his wife, Sarah, they get with it, but nothing's happening. So it's like, okay. So after a while, I guess Sarah recognizes that although maybe her husband's body has been healed, hers is not. She's still barren. So she kind of gets a little desperate. And back in their culture, now you got to start thinking not in Western mentality, because it's easy to put Western mentality on an Eastern mentality written Bible, okay? And it's for us still, but it wasn't written from our culture. but the lessons are still very much applicable to our culture and to us. Okay. So Sarah's thinking, okay, they had a custom that if you were barren and you had a servant or a slave, then that person could be a surrogate for you. So they would carry the child. They and your husband would get together. We don't do that, okay? And the baby that would be born would actually become the child of the mistress. So the servant or the slave is pretty much a surrogate. You're having a baby for them, okay? So Sarah has this brilliant, not so brilliant idea. She says to her husband, Abraham, he's old, his stuff is working. And she's saying, well, babe, maybe it's because my stuff isn't working that this isn't working out. So why don't you? And y'all know this must have taken a whole lot because we as women, this is not something we're just going to naturally suggest unless it's just a thing of love. We don't just say, hey, why don't you go get with so-and-so and have a baby for me? No, we don't do that. But, and I know a lot of times we kind of judge Sarah a little, probably too harshly, but I think she came from a right place. She came from a right place, even though her idea was not a good one. It just wasn't a good one. So she said to Abraham, hey, how about Hagar? Take Hagar, have a baby with her, make her one of your wives, and then, you know, the child will be mine. He was like, hey, that's good. That sounds good to me. He wasn't like, nah, babe, I don't want nobody. No, he didn't say that. He was like, okay, this sounds good. So him and Hagar got together. They had a child. They actually had a son. The son's name is Ishmael. So now he's Abraham's son, but he's not the one that God was talking about when God had said, I'm going to give you a son, and through him, all the nations of the earth will be blessed. And so he did tell Abraham, though, that he would make him the father of many nations. And so he has Ishmael. Ishmael grows up. In the meantime, there's altercations between Hagar and Sarah, because y'all already know two women cannot rule the same house. Two women with one man, it doesn't work. Plus, there are things that and nuances that we as females we can have that sometimes, no offense, guys, it can just go over y'all's heads. Y'all are just like, what? I don't understand what's going on. But we're like, no, like this is a real thing, okay? And so let me pull something up. So there's this girl drama that's going on, and eventually Sarah's like, I ain't having it. So she mistreats Hagar because Hagar starts feeling herself. She's like, now that she knows she's pregnant with Abraham's son, she's giving Abraham something Sarah couldn't give. So she's like, I'm the one, you're not, basically. Sarah ain't having it. So she mistreats Hagar. Hagar runs away. She goes out into the desert. She's pregnant. The Lord shows up and he speaks to her. And he's like, hey, what's going on? And he knows. And he comforts her and he tells her, to go back and pretty much submit to Sarah. And he's going to make her son into a great nation. So he blesses her, but he also tells her, you got to go back because she's carrying Abraham's one of, part of the promise. He's not the promised son, but God did say he was going to make him the father of many nations. And this son would birth nations, okay? So she goes back. Then when the son is around 12, 13, God does bless Abraham through Sarah with the son. So Sarah is 90, Abraham's 100 years old. And God allows Sarah to give birth. And so they're thrilled. She's like, oh, I guess I was a part of the plan after all. So now at the party, the weaning party, so a year or two has gone by, and Sarah is weaning her son, Isaac. You with me? And Ishmael, who's now a teenager, is there, and he's making fun of Isaac. He's like, ha, 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 he's making fun, all this stuff. Sarah ain't having it because he learned this from his mama. And she's like, no. So she tells her husband, she's saying, you got to get rid of her and this child because he's not going to share in the inheritance of my son. Like my son Isaac is not sharing the inheritance with Ishmael. It ain't going to happen. Well, Abraham, he's distressed. He's like, wait, this has been my son for the past 12, 13 years. So he's just like, but God did say, it's not through Ishmael, that the promise I gave you many years ago, 25 years ago, is not going to come through him. It's going to come through Isaac. So he went to God, and God told him, whatever, look it up, y'all. He said, told Abraham, whatever your wife tells you to do it. I'm saying that's in the word, okay? He told it to Abraham. He said, listen to whatever Sarah tells you, because it is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned. That's in Genesis chapter 21, verse, what verse is that? Verse maybe around 12 or so, okay? That's for people who like, it ain't in there. It's in there, okay? Anyway, so he listens, and drama's about to happen, okay? So, he's like, okay, I got to do what I got to do. So the next morning, early, he gets Hagar and he says goodbye to his son. And he gives them food, and he gives her a big wineskin full of water. And he puts it on Hagar's shoulder, as if to say, now, like, I'm releasing you. You're free. On one hand, it's like she kind of got left hanging, okay? But on the other hand, he was setting her free. You're free. You're no longer a slave or a servant, but you're now the servant of your son, because he is a direct descendant of me. Okay. So he puts it on her shoulders and he sends them away. Well, they travel and they go into the desert, and then eventually they run out of water. Now, you can run out of food, and if you run out of food, you're going to become skinny. You run out of water, you're going to die. Okay. So they ran out of water. So she's out there, and her son is just crying. She's crying because she knows he's about to die, because you can't live without water. And they're in the middle of the desert. He has no more strength. She doesn't either. So she takes her son. She puts him under this bush. And I'm getting to my point. Just give me a second. I'm getting to my point for real. Okay. So she puts him under this bush because she's like, I can't bear to see him die. I just can't watch my baby die. Y'all know how we are. Like, you wouldn't be able to do it. You're like, I can't watch my baby suffer. I can't take it. So she goes, the Bible says, like about a bow shot away, like an arrow shot away. So she's like, I'm going to sit over here and cry while he's over there crying. And then the Bible says that the Lord heard the boy crying from heaven. And he called to Hagar, though. So he hears the boy crying, because the boy is a part of Abraham's promise. Okay. And he says something to the mother, Hagar. He says, Hagar, what's going on? What's wrong, basically? And then the Lord tells her, pretty much, the boy's going to be okay. Like, I'm going to make him, into a nation. And the Lord tells her to go and to take the boy by the hand, basically, and lift him up. So you think he's going to die, but take him by the hand and lift him up. And then he shows her what was already there. And this is my point, okay? So she's in the desert. She's about to die. Her son is over there. He's dying. They're out of water. They're out of resources. You feeling me? Do you feel like you're in a desert? You feel like you're out of resources. You feel like you've been left hanging. You feel like you haven't been given enough. You feel like you've been done wrongly. You feel like you've been set up to fail, Well, God didn't work a miracle, but I'll say this. He didn't work a miracle in the way that we often think of miracles. The miracle he worked for Hagar that led to their survival was that he opened her eyes to what was already there. And there was a well. He opened her eyes to see the well of water that was right over there, right over there. And that well of water was able to sustain them. The well of water is normally the center of commerce. You're able to do business, to plant things so that you can eat. It's the thing that cleanses. It's the thing that sustains. It was right there. So I'm saying to you that there might be things that you are praying to God for a miracle for. You're like, God, I need a miracle. I need you to take something that isn't and just make it so. Well, because you are his, if you've given your life to Jesus Christ, you are part of that promise. You're part of the promise that Jesus has purchased for you. And now he has grafted you into the promise of Abraham. So we're now descendants by faith of Abraham because of Jesus Christ. Okay. And so I believe that there are things he wants to open your eyes to see that are right around you. There are wells around you, resources around you, strategies around you, favor around you, provision around you, healing around you. It's near, it's accessible. We just need the Lord to remove the filters from your eyes so that you can see, so that you can see. And so that's my prayer and that's my declaration over you, that the Lord is removing the blinders from your eyes so that you can see the well that is there, the well that he has allowed you to even faint near. They fainted near the answer. God could have had them faint anywhere else in that whole wilderness, anywhere. They could have been 80 miles away. He could have said, well, 80 miles that way, you already passed it, 3 days ago. 80 miles that way is water. No, the Lord allowed even their fainting to be near the resource. So I believe he's going to allow even your fainting, as he's allowed in several seasons of my life, even my fainting, even my hardship, even my abandonment, even hardship, to allow me to settle near provision. How did that happen? It wasn't because of my genius. It's not because of your genius. It's because of the provision in the hand of the Lord. And it's because of the promise that he's already deposited into you. And y'all, he does a lot of these things for his name's sake. It's not for ours. No, it's not for our fame, but it's for his fame. It's for his name's sake. I've told my son, I reminded my youngest son when he was in high school, I was a single mom. And, y'all know how it is. You're trying to provide, you're trying to do all these different things, you're trying to hold it down. And there were some things and some sacrifices that I made during really lean times. I mean, it was lean. Like, there are times of great harvest. I mean, I know great abundance, and I also know lean. Well, I was going through a lean season, and he needed something. I don't know if it was shoes. I think it was shoes, basketball shoes or something. And he didn't say anything to me, but I overheard him say something like he had borrowed someone's shoes. They had played the earlier game, and then he was playing the next game, and he borrowed someone's shoes. That didn't sit right with this mama. It just didn't sit right. And it wasn't because I'm like, I'm Nicole C. Mullen. No, it's because I'm his mother. And so for my namesake, because I am a mom who loves her child, I am a mother who will sacrifice for the betterment of my family. Because of my namesake, I said, oh no, I'm gonna have to find it. Something's gonna happen. So don't you know my son had the right kind of shoes, looking good? People may not have known that I did it. It didn't matter. But he belonged to me. And so my point is, there are things that God is going to do for you for his namesake. I'm sure there are a lot of other slaves, released or not released, or wandering, or servants that were in the desert that didn't belong to God, that wasn't attached because of a promise. Did he do something for them? I don't know. But I do know he did something for Hagar, not because Hagar was good or right, but because she was attached to the promise, to a promise. Now, Ishmael was not the promised seed, as I said. Isaac was. But he was a descendant of Abraham, and God had made another promise saying that from him nations would come. He would be the father of many nations. And so Ishmael was a part of that portion of that promise. And so for God's name's sake, he's like, oh no, I'm going to make sure he survives. For my name's sake, I'm going to make sure she sees that well. For my name's sake, I'm going to make sure that she has the provision. He has the provision that he needs in order to fulfill the purpose that I have for them. So I'm just reminding you, for God's name's sake today, for his name's sake, he's going to do things in your life. So when you call upon him according to his word, remind him of his goodness. Remind him of what he's already said. Remind him. He leads me through the paths. He leads me to the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. So this is what it says. Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. I shall not lack. I shall not do without any good thing. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. May he restore your soul. May he lead you today in the paths of righteousness, the right paths to go. May he lead you today in the right paths to go for his name's sake. This is what it says in the text. For his name's sake. And yea, though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, may you fear no evil. Why? Because God is with you. David wrote this. He said, his rod and his staff, they comfort him. So may his rod, the rod that he uses for correcting or disciplining or warring against the enemy, beating the enemy off, his rod, his weapon of war, and his staff, that's the staff that he uses to bring you back when you go astray. The staff that he uses to rescue his sheep. May his rod and his staff, may they comfort you today. May he prepare a table before you. Where? In the presence of your enemies. As your enemies are looking on, as your haters are like, how is that possible? How is God doing that for them? Why is he coming through? No, may he prepare a banquet table for you in the presence of your enemies while they're looking on, while they're mad, while they're jealous, while they're saying stuff. May he prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. May he, the Lord, anoint your head with oil. Hey, may he anoint your head with oil, and may your cup runneth over. See, shepherds, I just got to say this. David wrote this psalm, and he knew as a shepherd how he took care of his sheep. And so he was saying, in the way that I care for my sheep, in the way that I lay down my life for my sheep. David would lay down his life for the sheep that he was guarding. You know, when a bear came upon his sheep to kill his sheep, had the sheep in his mouth, David ran after that bear. He wasn't like, oh, well, I guess I just lost one because I can't fight against the bear. No, David was like, oh, not on my watch. Okay. So David went after the bear, grabbed it by the hair, whacked it on the head, pop, killed the bear. A lion tried the same thing. David wasn't like, oh, well, I guess I just lost a sheep because I'm a little kid. I can't fight against. No, David was like, not on my watch. He went after the lion, grabbed it by the hair. Whop! God killed the lion and rescued the sheep. And he also knew, so this is the kind of shepherd, but he also knew that when it came to the sheep to care for them, he would pour oil on the head of the sheep to run over the ears and to keep it would also make them slippery from vipers and things that would try and bite them. But it would also run over the ears to keep the gnats and the flies and the pests out of their ears. Because when they would get into their ears, the ears of the sheep would just shake their head and would try and bang their heads on the ground. It would just try and get these bugs out of their ears. So it would wind up destroying themselves, trying to conquer an invisible enemy that it could not see, but that had gotten into its head. You see what I'm saying? Have you had the invisible enemy get into your head? Try and tell you things that are lies, not the truth. Try and gaslight you. Try and manipulate you. Try and intimidate you. Have you had the lies of the enemy? So David's saying, he as David anointed his sheep with oil to protect their ears, to protect their minds. He says, the Lord, he pours oil on my head. He anoints my head with oil. And it's so much, my cup runs over. It overflows. And then he said, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And I'm going to switch it to you. So surely, may it be surely for certain, goodness and mercy, may they follow you all the days of your life. And may you dwell in the house of the Lord, in the presence of the Lord, in the security of the Lord, in the comfort of the Lord, in the instruction of the Lord, in the safety of the Lord, under the shadow of his wings. May you dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And that time span starts now, and it goes into eternity without an expiration date. So again, I pray that today the Lord would show you, he would open your eyes, and you would see what he has for you. That you would call out to him. You would cry like Hagar cried. You would cry like her son cried. You know, even though they weren't the promised ones, God still had mercy on them. He still had a plan for their lives. And God heard their cry, and he opened their eyes. Matter of fact, this is the second time Hagar had an encounter with the Lord. The first time when she had run away, when her mistress was upset with her, and she had a hand in it too. So it was just girl drama. The Lord spoke to her, and Hagar, she gave a name to the Lord. She said, you are the God who sees me. El Roy, you are the God who sees me. And he is the God who sees us too. Whether we got ourselves in situations or somebody else got us in this situation, whether it was your fault or someone else's fault, God sees you. He knows you. He loves you. And he cares. Okay? So go out and live like it. Live like it. Live like you are loved. Like I would tell my kids, like, go back and change clothes because you don't look like you loved yet. When you go out of this house, I need you to represent. And I need you to look like somebody loves you. For my name's sake, I'm going to take care of them. For God's name's sake, he's going to take care of you. Okay? So allow him to open up your eyes and show you where the well is for your resources, for your hydration, for your healing, for provision, for sharing. Like, let you see, let you know, and then you can tell other people where to get water too. Okay? I love you. God bless you. Make sure you share this with somebody else who needs the encouragement. Okay? And stay tuned because got more things coming. But I want you to know that you're loved and you are seen. Okay? And if you're on, make sure that you do the thing. Do the thing. Okay? Anyway, comment. Love to hear your comments. Love to read them. Love to respond. And if you see somebody with a prayer need in the comments, make sure that you pray for them too. This is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So let's be aware. And as somebody who has come out of domestic violence, I don't consider myself a survivor. I consider myself a thriver. I'm more than a conqueror. I'm not a victim. Although I have been abandoned, I've been abused, I've been betrayed, I am not a victim. I'm more than a conqueror. I am an overcomer. And you can be too. All right? So I love you. God bless you. Go love on somebody and make sure that you live like you're loved. All right? God bless you. Bye.